Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today once again with our 2024 upcoming releases, including when the next legendary event is going to be, which in this case is Shadow King. So we've done this in the past, typically every time there is a new team that's added or revised in the game, and every time we've done this, we've been getting closer and closer in terms of predicting actually when characters are going to likely get added into the game, in addition to when the free-to-play events are actually going to be released. So I hope you guys have been finding this helpful, because it's been great for me just to get a line of sight in terms of when these characters are getting added. And as well, it's the more data we have, the more easier it becomes and more predictable. It also adds value in terms of just us preparing as a player, but as well as kind of forecasting when these events do come live. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Bit of context here. So this all really started when we started seeing a big shift in the free-to-play release method, right? If you recall, this is the OG North Star Guardian Sasquatch Alpha Flight. Typically, you can see there on the left and the right, their introduction into the game versus their free-to-play event was anywhere from close to slightly over a week to less than 2 weeks, right? And then we saw this massive change with Illuminati. Sherry Black Panther, Hank Pym getting added, and really more notably Hank Pym, because he was close to almost a month after his introduction into the game. And then shortly afterwards, we got the blog post that there's going to be a massive shift in the free-to-play release change, and how this would ultimately impact future characters getting released. Now, we do have multiple teams now of information, which is really awesome for us to obviously forecast and predict when new characters are getting added to the game, as well as the free-to-play event. So this is finalized now. Gladiator, Gore, and Thanos Endgame, all respectively taking about a month, as you can see, just slightly shy of it. But as well, Thanos Endgame actually taking a little bit longer, because we did not expect them to slot in Sentinel, who was really meant to kind of combat and give a little bit of assurance to the community that they can at least bring in Sentinel as part of the initial Orchis team for those new raids. So it made sense, right? They needed at least a couple characters or to partake in certain events, and hence Thanos Endgame was skipped, and that's why he was pushed actually to 39 days. Now we actually have better information now in regards to the following team, which is Orchis, right? Sentinel was, again, he was a really good story, because he was actually only 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, so very similar to what we've seen in the past. And remember, with that free-to-play event change announcement, they did note that there was always going to be likely one out of the three characters that would get featured more sooner, that would get the free-to-play event, very similar to the past. So in this case, it was Sentinel. That's why, again, Thanos Endgame was skipped. We have Nimrod actually coming out a few days ago, and as you can see, he was still over a month, right? Introduction being September 12th, and then October 14th being the actual event. So very similar to what we saw kind of with Annihilators, close to that 30-day mark. Now, what was very interesting was Omega Sentinel. She was added in the game on September 23rd, but we predicted it was going to be October 21st, just kind of following the pattern in the suit here, right? But instead, she was actually added on the October 1st monthly, which was actually just about a week. So this was kind of a surprise one. We did not expect it to be that generous, but also I want to keep in mind too, guys, remember, there's technically still isn't really a free-to-play event for her just yet, specifically, and to be honest, I don't know if there will be, just because now I've also gotten her unlocked, and with the compensation that they released last week, most folks likely would have already unlocked Omega Sentinel, or very, very close, given that slow drip method that they have. So to be honest, I don't know if she's going to get an event, but for the meantime, my assumption is that she won't. If I've been able to unlock her with 0 cores, I'm assuming that the majority of the community, plus minus some luck here and there, are likely very, very close to Omega Sentinel's unlock. So I don't think she's going to be getting an event, and I do suspect that there's going to be obviously additional shards getting in the way of the strike pass or the battle pass. So rest assured, most of us will be able to unlock her free to play. But the good news is that with Orchis, the 4-piece actually does work even in the highest difficulty if you know which teams and synergies to use, which I'm currently doing right now as well. So that leaves us now with Nightstalkers, right? This is kind of the big question mark, because Blade's event just got released this week, and yes, that was very, very close to the mark of the 27 days that we saw. See, Blade October 1st. His release was this week, 27 days. So now I'm just going to be hopeful. I'm going to assume, for the sake of, the pattern that we've been seeing, Oath is likely going to be next week or the following week, which would put us around 35 days. Or I was also thinking maybe there's a chance that she actually can get included into the monthly, because you can see how close that start of the month is, right? November 4th. There's a good chance Oath could be the monthly character. And then lastly, usually Man-Thing would follow the pattern here, so I would suspect November 11th. That would keep it at 34 days, or it could be a little bit earlier if Oath does get included into the monthly. So the good news is that both Oath and Man-Thing are coming very, very soon. And remember, Man-Thing has that event right now where you should be able to get, I think I have like at least 50 shards of him now. So we're getting closer with the slow drip, but as well, remember, there is always going to be that likely free-to-play event. So the big question mark here now, following Nightstalkers, is the newest team being Astral. They've been announced, Shadow King's been confirmed, and it's looking hopeful, ladies and gentlemen. It's looking very hopeful, but remember, we still have a couple of kind of big things happening, right? Next week is Siege on Battle World. We just got the release here of Zombie Scarlet Witch, so they've been able to squeeze in things here and there, and hence why the projections have changed slightly for what we would expect it. So this is brand new now. Astral team blog post came out on October 21st. We're expecting the Ancient One to be at least initially added or into the game announcement in a couple weeks from now, which is November 11th. Could be sooner, but I don't see any kind of suggestions right now in the data mine files, which ideally points to the next week. So likely November 11th or before, and then that gives us a rough timeline here of December 2nd, 2024 being the probable free-to-play event, or later. Remember, 21 days is being conservative because from the averages we've seen, they've been around 25 days plus. Shortly afterwards, Emma Frost, the new X-Men version, should come out a week later, and then that should be darn close to December 9th, 20 days, give or take. Again, I would be conservative with 20 days. It likely will be later given the averages that we've seen, which means, guys, now that gives us a lot of clarity that Shadow King is for sure coming in November to signal and join the rest of this release. So pretty exciting times. We got Battle World next week, in addition to a couple weeks from now they're going to be announcing the release of Shadow King. So super, super exciting month, guys. But I know there's been some up and down, obviously, with the Halloween festivities, but always pumped to see a new legendary character joining into the mix here. And I definitely can't wait to get that content for you guys. So hopefully you found this helpful. Hopefully this is insightful for you to kind of at least, draw up your calendar and see, you have a line of sight on when these characters are getting introduced, as well as when their events are coming into the game for us to access free to play. Do let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for your time as always, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.